Do you miss home?
Yeah, I do miss home. A big mistake that many Germans do. They think that because we are foreigners here, you can barely express yourself.
That makes you dumb.
That makes you dumb. I come in a country where beer is drunk more than water. Is bread food? Yeah, it's food, yeah. Germans don't like beating around the bush. Once they don't like you, some are bold enough to even say that to your face. They want to look straight in your eyes, which is so unusual in Uganda.
Do you feel accepted?
Surprisingly, I feel like I belong here more than in Uganda. Their way of partying, I'm still struggling with that.
Their vibes are hard to catch.
Their vibes are different.
Why that in particular?
Why that? To crush this mentality of Africans who think that think like they're not worthy something good.
3, 2, 1,
Henry from Uganda. Almost making 8 years in German. I left Uganda in 2014. I left as an urban planner. I reached Norway because of football. Qualified, yes. I graduated and have a bachelor's, second class actually, a very good one. It's unfortunate that I'm not practicing it.
You're not practicing urban planning after hitting those high grades?
Unfortunately not.
Urban planning is just something you study?
It's something I studied. I worked there for like a year, but I had a conflicting choice regarding my careers. And then there's a guy who insisted so much on me and encouraged me to give football at least 1 year try. Because before, my father was against me playing football. He focused on education is key. So my mother also kept that culture, was like concentrate. And after university, so she was like, now you're done. Now you decide. Thank you.
A lot of children in Africa specifically study for their parents.
Here is your degree.
Yeah, exactly.
You take it home,
then you go to hustle.
Statistics say that almost 70% of the people who graduate rarely use their degrees. And 13%, yes, they use their degrees
for the sake of surviving,
and earning. As I was in the university, I was just playing for a local team, Katanga, I don't know if you know it. They had a team and we were playing for fun, and then I was surprisingly summoned for the under-20s national team. And then I traveled to Vietnam.
You must have been so good.
I was a bit unique. Blessed to be tall, big, fast, and also creative. And that's why my career traveled so fast.
You go to Vietnam?
I went to Thailand, and then from there, I connected to Vietnam. So I went there and played there for almost like a year. And then I connected to Norway. It was different, of course, different continent, weather, culture. It wasn't easy to integrate. And then after that, I traveled to Germany in 2017. It was also quite different.
Still different from Norway?
Still different from Norway. I came here. I did industry clerk. That's a so unusual profession.
Industry clerk?
Yeah.
What do you do as an industry clerk?
Industry kaufman. But in English, it's called industry clerk. I don't know why it's like that. Don't ask me why. I come from Uganda. It's a British colony and stuff like that. So the educational system is also related to the British style.
From Norway to Germany. You've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
What is it, 8, 9 years?
8 years now.
Do you miss home? Do you ever miss home?
Yeah, I do miss home. In the beginning, of course, it was hard, very hard on me. Like the first 2 years in Norway, the people there are quite different from the Germans, so more reserved compared to the Germans.
And that's new. That's new to hear.
Yeah, I was also surprised. There it wasn't easy. I missed home so dearly. I had no family here, so I was on my own. I still miss it, but not so much like before.
Yeah.
Because gradually I'm also being Germanized, if I would say.
That happens to everyone. That happens. So you come here and you're all...
You come with excitement, but you calm down and you start integrating and you get into the system. But I do miss home. I left in July 2014, and up to now.
This is how I know you've been Germanized. When you can remember the actual date.
Before it never used to matter, but of course.
Here you will remember. You will be forced
you will have
to. Dates.
You'll be forced to remember.
We've talked about being Germanized, but would you say you're still the same person? You feel yourself losing yourself?
So it wasn't easy, of course, to come into a totally different society and environment, and you try to hold on to your core principles or values. There are things that I do and be like, yeah, that's me. Like not drinking alcohol, something like that.
That was you since way back?
Since way back.
You know, you come in a land of beer and then...
I come in a country where beer is drunk more than water.
Have they forgiven you?
Of course, they always ask me, what's wrong? And the classic excuse, I'm a driver. So they love hanging out with me because they know that the driver's around, so they can drink themselves nuts.
That's a cool excuse.
So that's my classic excuse. I try to eat whatever is available.
Yeah.
If I see, of course, my colleagues from Uganda or the newcomers, they find it hard. Blending.
When there's a dish and there's no matoke on it.
Exactly. and they be like, is bread food? I'm like, yeah, it's food, yeah.
People having bread here for Abund.
I think the first time I learned about it, I was in Norway and I visited a friend. And we had nice lunch, so I was like eager to also have supper.
Yeah.
And what was for dinner was just slices of bread, cheese, and some funny stuff. I was like, I'm not hungry. I don't do this. I will wait for supper. And I was like, oh, dinner.
This is it.
Like,
You're done.
This is it. Like, we have nothing more.
Give me like 2-3 scenarios where you feel like, you know what, this is Germany taking over now.
I think I've changed the way I communicate.
Yeah.
Germans love communicating directly.
By the doors.
They don't like beating around the bush. But once they don't like you, some are bold enough to even say that to your face. Their communication is direct. If they want something, they would request it there and then. They won't beat around the bush to be like, would you please do me a favor? Or what do you think could... That's more English thing or Ugandan thing.
I mean, they're polite.
They are polite, but in a direct
They're
way.
direct.
It took me a while to understand that, but I came to realize it's just their nature and culture. They love communicating and direct. And when communicating, of course, they want to look straight in your eyes and talk to you, or perhaps give you a handshake and look straight in your eyes, which is so unusual in Uganda.
For us in Africa, when you talking someone bigger than you, like a boss,
you shouldn't look in their eyes.
You're humble, you're like this.
Yes. Yeah, they don't like that. They feel like you're shy. They feel like you lack confidence.
Or you're telling lies with
or you're not being honest. Yeah. And I've changed so I can also speak up my mind when I don't like something. But of course, because I'm not German, I still cover it.
You feel guilty after saying something wrong. Like,
I try to cover it and bring it. Yeah, we are so much considerate, but Germans are not so much considerate. Dress code at work, it's for them no big deal. You can do your stuff as long as you're productive. So there's some things that I'm trying to adopt, and I believe when I go back to Uganda, I'll have a hard time.
Yeah.
Trying to integrate again to the Ugandan system.
Is there a plan? Is there a plan to go back home or?
To go and settle there? Not really, because I've happened to settle here with my family, but I could always go and visit.
Have you had a chance to go back home?
Yeah, after quite a while. I was there last year.
After
year.
What, 9?
2014, almost 9 years. 2014.
You're making 10. Do you feel accepted? Do you feel like do you feel belonging?
I feel accepted. I feel like I belong here. And surprisingly, I feel like I belong here more than in Uganda. Because I've been there last year. And I felt like...
What's that feeling like? What is that?
Like I was there, and surprisingly, yes, it was home. But even my siblings kept on telling me, you are no longer like us.
You're not like us.
You are now European.
Here.
We don't do it this way. We do it this way. I was like, okay, I'm no longer up to their standards. But I couldn't notice it at the beginning. But they could notice it immediately. Yes. So I feel the sense of belonging here. Of course, there's some things that I have to accept that they don't come within the package. Things to make peace with. In Uganda, it's totally different. Like the way we have fun, the culture is different. Here, fun is attached to drinking, alcohol. If you don't drink, then they don't have fun. But in Uganda, apparently, you can have fun even without drinking. Their way of partying, I'm still struggling with that. Like they could sit for the whole day and drink. Talking and drink like 15 crates of beers. And they're like, wow, it was massive. We had
Their vibes are hard to catch.
Their vibes are different. I'm African. Without music, it's always hard. But here, they could just talk without music, but they're having fun. So
you've made peace. You've made peace with these.
I first accepted myself. Yes, you first have to accept that. Okay, this is a new beginning for me, and I should consider it to be home.
I think one of the biggest problems that I'm individually facing right now is the language. What was that journey like for you?
I wouldn't say it was smooth. It was a scuffle, of course. To do anything or to learn something new, you need something driving you. Doing an apprenticeship was my focus, and one of the prerequisites was the language. And I was like, okay, I want to go to that level whereby I can understand people at least.
Yeah.
And what inspired me was at the football pitch. The first time they spoke, I barely understood nothing. So I was like, okay, I don't want to speak back, but at least let me understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
First of all, the passion, the love for the language is key.
How do I find passion for a language?
I know.
What is that like?
Find a purpose, find a goal.
And in this case, your purpose was house building.
Yes, I'm a graduate, but I chose apprenticeship because it could give me like a plan B and perhaps a plan A out of asylum. And that's why I went for industry government.
Why that in particular?
Why that? To crush this mentality of Africans who think that they're minors, or in their mind, they think like they're not worthy something good.
Inferiority complex.
Exactly.
The go-getter I knew was talking.
Exactly. First of all, with this shift work, it would be hard for me to juggle football because I still wanted to continue playing football. So I was like, I need the language, yes, and perhaps a good level that I could be able to achieve my house building. At school, it was challenging. I have to understand the language. I have to understand the context.
Did you have all the drive? That the only thing that was missing was the language?
The most vital thing is your mentality. Once you're still psychologically struggling, trust me, even if you have the best teachers in the world, you wouldn't learn anything. It's a great challenge that once you have that, you accept that you're now here. It's a new opportunity to showcase or to start all over. And what do you need to start all over? To communicate. So that's the language, and then how you communicate also matters. Like, that's where I integrated with this German way of looking directly, eye contact, and speaking what you want.
Are these things someone told you? Are these things you are figuring out all by yourself? Like this communication, looking people in the eye. We were being beaten for looking our elders in the eye.
Straight in the eyes. They feel like it's a sign of disrespect.
Exactly. So, was someone telling you these things, or are these things you are figuring out?
At the beginning, I was maneuvering on my own, and then later on, of course, we met people who are volunteers trying to help us, like Frau Eva Schnickler. So she helped us big time to teach us the culture, telling us in German we do this, in German we do this, in German we do this. And in the beginning, people are like, we're from Africa, we're from different dominations, we're not going to do that. Like, but you're in German. Once you're here, you have to abide by the rules, at least the culture. If you integrate and you adopt to some few cultures, they respect you.
Because I've noticed that they are way too direct, slightly close to arrogant. When you're coming from where we come from, where we add a bit of cream on each and everything we say, you will find them a little bit arrogant. But the more you stay here, the more you notice that's who they are by nature. It's
quite a switch in culture. Up to now, I'm still learning it.
9 years later, still learning.
Yes, because I'm still like, yes, I know. Sometimes when I'm facing the Germans, I would go direct, but I still try to find a way of covering it up.
The guilt is still coming.
The guilt is still coming because it's just not me. I can integrate, but that doesn't make me German. So I just try to juggle the two and try to see what's my audience, who is listening to me. Is it a German who likes this? Then I give it to them. Of course, language affects how these people view you or see you. I remember the old man where I used to live was like, because you guys come and you cannot speak the language, and for us we thought you guys are dumb, you cannot communicate.
Because you're not communicating.
Yes, we watch TV, this is what we get, that you guys are lacking, you barely have anything. And I was like, no, we have also universities, we use all those gadgets and equipments, we study. And not knowing the language has nothing to do with someone's intelligence. A big mistake that many Germans do. They think that because we are foreigners, here you can barely express yourself.
That makes you dumb.
That makes you dumb. And of course, because of social media, whatever it portrays about Africa, like we are way behind, we are dumb and stuff like that. I work in an office. You can find someone in the production asking you silly questions like, what are you doing in the office? They feel like they are better than us and we don't belong maybe to such.
That will bring me to my next question. Have you been a victim of racism since, or have you felt like you've been treated unfairly?
In Norway, I think I was unfairly treated. I felt like I was a bit segregated. Popping into a supermarket, you just want to get some few stuff to eat. And before you realize someone is sneaking and following you behind. Like, okay, who is that? And it's the supermarket attendant.
To make sure you're not
going to sneak anything. And here in German, I wouldn't say that is a more specific or more concrete scenario, but there is some like tiny bits, like I said, like someone comes and asks you, what are you doing there in the office and stuff like that. And then like someone being surprised, you're actually not dumb. Someone coming and asking you, do you guys also have computers? Like, but I'm working in an office, you know. They think we are dangerous.
Yeah.
So I've made peace with it. I was like, okay, they think I'm dangerous, so it's upon me to prove to them that I'm not dangerous. So it's not like racism, but it's a bit of segregation, but based on what they know.
Yeah.
So if I give them a different perception, they wouldn't think.
So you're taking the responsibility upon yourself to basically change the perception.
And I would like to encourage people that I don't only represent Ugandans or myself, but I represent the entire black race.
Yeah, like I've also attended something at some hospital. There were like 60 people. I was only, I think, black African. And you could tell everyone was
focusing on you.
What could he be probably
doing here?
I've also gotten that kind of attention where someone thinks
nothing.
You're probably lost.
I don't take it personally because I know it's something sold to them, and they are raised or born like that, thinking that we belong to this inferior minority. Don't focus on your skin color, because the truth is, if someone says I'm black, why would I be offended?
Yeah, because you are black.
I'm black. I also call them white.
Yeah, and they are white.
And they are white. So the point is, once you don't put it on your focus, you don't take it like negatively in regards to racism.
Yeah.
Know who you are and what values you hold, and then don't focus on that. I always smile about it. And then once they come in later on, I'll be like, now I know why you're in the office. It's like, what did you find out? They told me you're smart, you do your things in a smart way.
He was told that you're smart.
Yes, and I was like, at least someone gave me credit somewhere.
How do you make friends with Germans, especially based on their character?
I think like hobbies, if you happen to share like a hobby, go to that place playing volleyball, let me say, or badminton or table tennis, stuff like that. There you meet some few people. You have to mix and mingle.
Vibes.
In sports, they open up. And then one thing, guys who smoke easily make friends. Guys who drink.
We are not saying you should smoke, but
I'm not saying you should smoke. But the thing is,
engaging in activities
that bring these people. They're kind of like introverts, something like that. You need to break the ice. The truth is, they have that fear to come in and start a conversation in the beginnings. Many would hold on to themselves, and once you break the ice, they open up.
You've been now officially corporately employed for how long?
Since 2022.
Since 2022. That's 3 good years. What is the work culture like? What is the work culture? Because you've also said you've worked in Uganda before. What is the work culture like?
I think in Uganda it's more official. Dress code speaks volumes. Here they basically don't care about the dress code. Yes, they care more about the output. Like the CEO can come pop in with t-shirt and jeans. And sometimes, because I'm born and raised from Uganda, that official thing pops in.
Yeah, it always comes in one thing.
And then sometimes I feel like I'm too smart in the office for the others. Communication has to be direct and clear. If you speak boldly and loud, then you have confidence in what you're saying. They relate it like that.
Most of the times I found myself losing arguments.
That's the point, because you wanted to be a nice guy. The thing is, another thing I've learned in the German culture, even at work, don't be so nice, because they won't take you seriously. You have to find a balance of being not so nice. And once you're not so nice, they'll think that you know what you're doing. But if you're so nice, your opinions wouldn't be regarded seriously even in meetings. So you have to find that balance of not being so nice. And they feel like those who speak more and raise their voices and not so nice, they know more and they're taking more responsibility. Unfortunately, they think like that.
If you had to carry one thing and take it back home, what would that be?
Of course, there are quite a number of things I would carry in. But it would be the educational system. The jobs or things or professions that we don't take seriously in Uganda can actually create jobs in Europe.
But in Uganda, I was not seeing so many people just because of talent making something for themselves.
That was exactly the point why my father was against football. It's not like he was against football. No, he was like trying to protect me from going through what he went through, and then trying to shift my focus to only that, what he thought was key to success. But if I was to change the educational system, like vocational educational trainings,
in Uganda,
that's equivalent to apprenticeship.
You only do vocational training in Uganda when you're a failure.
Yes, that's one thing I would change, that to put more focus on vocational training. But you can create your own job and create for also others' jobs.
Yeah.
And equip industries or companies, support them in that direction, than to let parents spend lots of or fortune in education, and at the end of the university, guys are stranded and they're doing something that they never studied.
And they also do. They do pay. The companies do the pay.
Yeah, a company employs you to gain experience through them and also gain a theory experience or theory knowledge from school. And then when you graduate, they entrust you to take a position in the company. So the company basically pays you to go to school.
Where would you?
That's the point. So that's
where
why
in Uganda would you find it?
No chance. German has opportunities, but it's you to snatch
But
it.
Africans are not taking these chances.
Yeah, because they don't want to inject in an effort. If you apply effort, you get these opportunities.
Is it our mentality from where we come from, where you're taking me back to school? I don't like school in the first place.
I'm a graduate. They wouldn't recognize it much as Ausbildung.
Yeah?
They still try to lower your educational stuff. Once you say I'm a graduate in Uganda, be like, yeah, it's cool, but it's still Ugandan
It's not
standard.
enough. That's an actual fact.
That's the mentality or the perception that I told you about. They only think in Africa there's nothing good that comes out of it.
I've studied media design and animation in Uganda, and I've been here. The good thing is that for our kind of work, you can see what everyone is doing. I've seen a couple of things that they're designing, and I'm thinking, no.
My German teacher said it. My point on studying German wasn't to have a certificate. I just wanted to understand. I wanted to express myself in German.
Yeah.
And it was like, I know that's good, but in German they consider papers. Like, you can be eloquent, you can do whatever, but if you don't have anything to back it up, that doesn't count. Of course, in the beginning it was a challenge. I barely understood 30% of what they taught. But that's the fact.
Yeah.
But that motivated me to go watch YouTube videos to try to understand, and I was juggling the two. I was studying, doing apprenticeship, working, and doing German course, doing driving. I was just doing everything. Playing football. I basically didn't have any free time because I knew that was an opportunity for me. Yes, I will have time for other stuff once I'm done.
Which was bringing me to the next question. What are you up to right now? What is taking most of your time?
Yes, I have family, of course.
You have a family.
And my little son keeps me busy.
You have a son?
I have a son.
Okay.
So one of the goals I achieved is to have family also here. I'm looking to start my own company.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's big stuff. But the point is, you can do it. The moment is to start now.
Talk to any African right now. I just came today. I've just landed. I have no clue. I don't know where to start.
I wouldn't want to give you any false hopes. I'll try to help you to be realistic with expectations. Just like many others, of course, our expectations are always high.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to accept the reality, which is that you have traveled to a new country, new culture. It's not home. You're far away from home.
Here.
No one is going to comfort you, console you, stuff like that. You have yourself. You are by yourself.
That's what you got.
That's what you got. Many people, you leave your family back home with high expectations. They're seated down. You're also here. You haven't yet settled. And you're trying your best as possible to help them out. There's no chance. Invest in yourself. Accept that it takes time. Make an effort to learn the language. Get off your comfort zone. Be productive. Get something done. Use what you've gotten. It could be talent or anything. Interact. Without these natives, you cannot do nothing. You need people to help you. Our goal shouldn't be to survive, but to establish yourself. And the most vital thing is accept the current situation. Like, let it digest in your mind that you're here, but it's an opportunity to start all over again. If you messed up wherever you've been, you have a chance to correct that and rewrite your script. And
interesting. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was really interesting. The plan is to have a whole lot more of these. I know there's not so much of this. And if you also go Googling, there's a lot of
information that is twisted.
Yeah. You know, like people back home think are being mistreated. I think...
they worry so much about us because when they're silent sometimes.
They also have time to be on the phone. For some reason, there's a bit of more freedom. Here, everything is pushing.
There's pressure here.
Yeah, and all of these things, I feel like it's important that we unfold them and they start making sense. That's the essence of why I think it's interesting to always have people who have
Yeah.
like value to add on other people.
At least you pick 1 or 2, 3 things that you can use to guide you along the course.
Yeah. That was more like it. Thank you so much for watching. Next on the menu, I don't have a plan. We shall see who we shall talk to next. I really do appreciate.
You're welcome, and thanks for hosting me.
3, 2, 1.